Hello all, welcome to today's lecture where we will be outlining the different types of terrestrial ecosystems. Now, across the world, due to the variation in climate, the natural vegetation, the soil composition, water bodies that are present in and around an ecosystem, and the fauna that are inhabiting an ecosystem, due to the variation in all of these factors, there are different types of ecosystems that are found. Even amongst the ecosystem forest, if you see here, there are different types, subtypes of forests, such as boreal forests, temperate coniferous forests, temperate deciduous forests, evergreen forests, so on and so forth. So these ecosystems are all differing based on their abiotic and biotic components, and this is exactly what we are going to be looking at today. But before we dive into that, let us look at how the earth is divided based on the latitudes, how the regions are divided. Now, around the equator, the region that is present extending from Tropic of Cancer till the Tropic of Capricorn, that entire region is referred to as the tropical region. So, tropical region is the region extending from the Tropic of Cancer till the Tropic of Capricorn, which is around the equatorial region. That region is called as the tropical region or tropical zone. Beyond these latitudes, what we find is called as the temperate region. So, temperate region is beyond the Tropic of Cancer and beyond the Tropic of Capricorn. In between the tropical and the temperate zones, the zone of transition is called as the subtropical zone. So you can see here, this is the subtropical zone, which is present as a zone of transition beyond the or between the tropical and the temperate zones. And at the far ends, we have the polar zone. So we have polar zones at the Antarctic and the Arctic regions. These are the different zones based on which the fauna and flora, in also the weather, the climate keeps differing from one place to the other. So let us look at the major types of terrestrial ecosystems. Now, terrestrial ecosystems are mainly categorized by the limiting factor, that is moisture. Moisture is a major limiting factor because in some regions moisture is abundant, in other regions moisture is scarce, hardly present. In some regions it is always raining, the precipitation is always there. In other regions there is no precipitation at all. In certain regions there is precipitation, but it is present only in certain seasons, certain months of the year. So the moisture is the major limiting factor in all the terrestrial ecosystems. Along with that, there are extremes of temperature present because terrestrial ecosystems are directly in contact with the sunlight, and hence there is extremities present in the temperature. Along with that, the common feature that is found amongst the flora and fauna of terrestrial ecosystems is that they have a strong skeletal system. So these are some of the characteristics of all the three types or major types of terrestrial ecosystems. Now, there are three types which we'll be looking at. Those are the forest ecosystems, the grassland ecosystems, and the desert ecosystems. All the other subtypes that I had shown you earlier are all coming under these types. So we'll be only looking at the major types and the examples or names of the subtypes. So the first ecosystem is forest ecosystem. Like the name says, or like it's shown in the background, these ecosystems are characterized mainly by trees. The main flora over there, the flora which is present maximum in such ecosystems are the trees. So forests are having abiotic components that include inorganic elements and rich organic matter. Organic matter is present inside the soil, and it is also present in the form of dead organisms in the soil. So we have dead and decaying organisms plenty, and we also have a lot of organic matter which is imbibed into the soil. Along with the organic matter, there is also a presence of inorganic elements. So the abiotic component in case of forest ecosystem is very, very rich due to their high presence of flora and fauna in such ecosystems. Even the abiotic component, that is the nutrients, are also very rich. The biotic components include the producers, those are the plants. This mainly includes the tree species. Other than that, there can be climbers, shrubs, and even ground vegetation. We can also find a lot of small shrubs or herbaceous plants or even grasses on the forest floor. So these are the different types of producers that can be found in any type of forest ecosystem. The consumers include primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. So we are still talking about the biotic components. The first group are the plants, that is the producers, and the second group are the consumers. Primary consumers mainly includes the ants, flies, beetles, monkeys, squirrels, rabbits, shrews, fruit bats, etc. There are so many different types of animals which are surviving by eating the producers. That is why they are called as the primary consumers. Secondary consumers feed on the primary consumers. This includes animals like fox, jackals, lot of varieties of birds. There can be reptiles like lizards and snakes. So these are the secondary consumers which are feeding directly on the smaller animals. We also have tertiary consumers such as lion, tiger, bear, coyotes, eagles. These are all examples of tertiary consumers. Some of these can also be the apex predators or the apex consumers, the top consumers in that ecosystem. Decomposers, which are found in the soil, includes the microorganisms and other detritivores, that is worms like earthworm. So the decomposer population, the abiotic content, everything is very high in a forest ecosystem because flora and fauna are rich in such a type of ecosystem. There is abundance of flora and fauna, due to which there is abundance of nutrients in the soil, and to get these nutrients we even have abundant microorganisms or decomposers present in the soil. There are different types of forest ecosystems. I have only listed out a few over here, and for your benefit, I have put the zonations over here. So we have tropical evergreen forest. Tropical evergreen forest is also called as a rain forest because it receives rain throughout the year, or most of the time in the year. It is receiving the rain, and hence it is called as a tropical rainforest. We also have tropical deciduous forests. Deciduous forests are those which shed their leaves in the dry season, or you can say that they are these deciduous forests either change the color of their leaves or they shed the leaves during the dry season. Again, they are having the green leaves during the wet season. So those are the deciduous forests. Now in the tropical region, we find both evergreen as well as deciduous forests. An example of tropical deciduous forests in India are those which are found in the northern parts of Karnataka, like Dandeli, the ones which is shown in the background, or even in states like Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, we find tropical deciduous forests. Tropical evergreen forests, that is the ones which are called as rainforests, are those which receive more than 200 centimeter rainfall every year. This includes Western Ghats in India or the Andaman Islands. So these are the areas which receive very high rainfall, and hence they show tropical evergreen forest. The second type of forests are those which are found in the temperate region. So this includes temperate evergreen and temperate deciduous. Temperate forests receive lesser rainfall in comparison to the tropical forests. So temperate evergreen forests are found in US, in Canada, in many parts of Europe. There in India, it's found in the eastern and western Himalayas. We find temperate evergreen forests. Temperate deciduous forests are found in the foothills of Himalaya in India, or in West Bengal. We find temperate deciduous forests. We also find temperate deciduous forests in Uttaranchal, and in most parts of Europe what you see are the temperate deciduous forests. So you can see over here, these are the temperate forests which are found. This is an example of a temperate forest. So these are forests which are found in the temperate region, and they can be either of evergreen type or deciduous type. The third type of forests are the coniferous forests. In India, coniferous forests are mainly found in eastern Himalayas, in Sikkim, Arunachal. In those regions, the forests that you find are the coniferous forests, and they are categorized mainly by these kind of trees. Trees which are pine trees or conifers. Those are the plants, those are the trees that you find in coniferous forest. A subtype of coniferous forest is also called as the boreal forest or the taiga region, taiga biome, wherein it's a subset of coniferous climate, wherein the climate is much colder. This is usually found in northeastern China, in Russia, Canada, all the Scandinavian countries, Alaska. That is where you find the coniferous forest, they of the type boreal forest. So here the temperature is very cold, and hence the trees are adapted accordingly. This is an example of a coniferous forest. This is an example of a temperate forest, and this what we see here is the Banerghatta forest in India, in the southern state of Karnataka. And here we usually find evergreen forest. So they could be either dry deciduous or they could be moist deciduous forests, which are found in Banerghatta zone or Banerghatta region. So these are all examples of forest ecosystems. There are also several other subtypes. One of the common types which is found in India are the montane forests. Montane forests are those which receive precipitation not in the form of rainfall, or you can say more than rainfall, they receive precipitation in the form of fog. So such forests are also very, very common in the Indian ecosystem. But majorly, if we see, we have forests in the tropical region, forests in the temperate region, and we have coniferous forests which are found at higher altitudes. So these are the different types of forests that or forest ecosystems that are found across the world. The second type of ecosystem is the grassland ecosystem. Now, grassland ecosystem, like the name says, is mainly characterized by grasses. However, in some areas, it may have few shrubs and trees as well. These arise due to moderate rainfall. The reason these kind of regions have more of grasses and less of trees is because of their rainfall pattern. They receive moderate rainfall, and that is the reason they are characterized by grasses or grassland ecosystem. So in such an ecosystem, the abiotic components includes inorganic elements in the soil and organic matter in the soil as well as dead organisms, but the abundance is lesser than forests. You do find organic and inorganic matter in the soil, but it is not as abundant, or the soil is not as rich as a forest ecosystem. When we come to the biotic components, it includes producers, consumers, and decomposers. So the producers here are mainly grasses and shrubs and other types of ground vegetation. Small herbaceous plants, small woody plants are the major types of the producers. Trees may be found in a few types of grassland ecosystem, as we'll be seeing in the next slide. Consumers include primary consumers. Those are the animals which are herbivorous. So it includes all the different types of cattle like cows, buffalo, sheep, goat. We have deer. There will be animals like rodents like mouse. There are animals like termites which feed on the leaves of the grass. There are several types of worms which are found like millipedes. So these are the different types of primary consumers that are found in a grassland ecosystem. The secondary consumers includes reptiles like snakes, lizards. We also have wolves. There are foxes, different types of birds that are the secondary consumers. And tertiary consumer mainly includes jackals, the hawks, lion, and tiger, which are feeding on the primary or the secondary consumers. The decomposers includes different types of microorganisms in the soil, which are breaking down these organic matter and filling it into the soil or providing it into the soil. Now, there are different types of grassland ecosystems. The grassland ecosystems again are based on the zone. So, we have in the tropical region, we have the savanna grasslands which are found in Africa. And in the temperate zones, we have steppes which are found in Europe, or we have prairies which are found in North America. So, they are, or pampas which is found in South America. They are named differently based on where they are found, based on the country they are found in. They are given different names. Usually, the pampas or the temperate grasslands are characterized by warm weather and a lot of fires. That is why forests have not been established yet, because there's so much of fire in such regions that the trees, even if they start growing, they are destroyed due to the forest fire. In India, there are also montane grasslands which are found on the mountains of western and eastern Ghats. We have a lot of grasslands in the coastal regions as well. We have river grasslands or riverine grasslands which are found on the fertile plains of Brahmaputra and Ganga rivers. So we have different types of grasslands found in India as well. The savanna type grassland, here you can see here, this is the savanna type grassland. Savanna grasslands are, this is in the African savanna. You can see here they are a tropical type of grassland, which is where you have grasses which are characterized by trees at intervals. What you see here, the second one, these are the prairies. This is the type of grasses that you see in prairie grasslands that are found in the northern American region. And these are the grasslands which are called as steppes. These are mainly found in Europe. These, what are shown over here, are a type of tropical grasslands called as shola grasslands, which is mainly this picture is from Karnataka. It can be seen in Kudremukh. It can be seen in other Western Ghat regions, in the Nilgiris, in Anamalai Hills, in Dandeli region of North Karnataka. So these are all different types, or they are a subtype of tropical grasslands called as the shola grasslands, very, very characteristic of the Western Ghat region. We also have temperate alpine grasslands which are found in Himalayas. So basically, if we divide in a very brief way, if we divide, grasslands can be found in the tropical region. So we can have tropical grasslands or we can have temperate grasslands, and the types have been shown in this map. The next type of ecosystem is the desert ecosystem. Now, desert ecosystem is the driest terrestrial ecosystem. So the vegetation is very, very less, and whichever plants and animals are found over here are adapted to the harsh conditions. So these are regions wherein either the precipitation does not happen at all. Even if precipitation happens, there is a high rate of evaporation, due to which all of the water gets evaporated. So there is a long period of drought, and the rains do not occur, and due to the rapid evaporation, usually these areas are very, very dry. Now, if you see here, the abiotic and biotic contents are also not much. That is, there is poor organic matter present in the soil, because the biotic components are less. So automatically the abiotic components found in the soil are also very less. Main reason being extremely high temperatures and too much of evaporation. Evaporation is more than the precipitation. The biotic components includes producers, consumers, and decomposers. So producers are mainly of the types of shrubs, or there can be succulent plants and xerophytic grasses. Succulent plants, example the cacti, or there can be xerophytic grasses that are found, that is grasses which are adapted to the hot conditions, the hot and dry conditions. There can also be a few types of mosses and trees like the palm trees. So though there is vegetation, it's not very commonly found in all the desert regions. Only in patches it is found, and even the type of vegetation found here is adapted specifically to the desert ecosystem, to the dry and hot conditions. Consumers mainly include the different types of reptiles. So we have variant or varied types of lizards and reptiles and chameleons that are present. There is camel that is present. There are a lot of nocturnal rodents that are present. Nocturnal because the temperatures are very high in the morning hours, so they usually come out at night. We also have several types of insects that are present. These are the different types of consumers that are found in a desert ecosystem. And the decomposers are also again poor, because the organic matter, the biotic component is poor, so the decomposers abundance or the decomposers population is also less. Mainly there are species of thermophilic bacteria and thermophilic fungi, or heat tolerant fungi and heat tolerant bacteria. Heat tolerant is what we call as the thermophiles, those which are able to survive in very hot condition. So these are the different types of abiotic and biotic components which are found in a desert ecosystem. Now, the different types of deserts are hot desert, which we all know about. Those include the Sahara Desert in Africa, or the Mojave Desert, which is found in US, or the Thar Desert, which is found in India. So those are the different examples of hot deserts. Deserts which are having very high temperatures in the morning. At night time they're very cold, and the organisms there are adapted to that. So they are called as the arid deserts. That means hot and dry deserts. We also have another type, that is the semi-arid deserts. Semi-arid deserts are a bit more humid. They are not as dry as the arid ones. They are a bit more humid, like the Utah desert or Montana desert. In Europe, we have many such semi-arid deserts. Kalahari desert is again a semi-arid desert, that is slightly a bit more humid than the arid ones. Then we have the cold desert. Cold desert are those which are seen in extremely cold regions, in higher, in the mountainous regions, in regions where there is very low temperatures. The tundra region, what you find over there are the cold deserts. For example, the Tibetan desert or the Gobi desert, Bolivian desert. All of these are examples of cold deserts. What is shown over here is the Tibetan desert, which is the largest and highest plateau in the world. So it is having extremely cold conditions and not much vegetation or fauna are there. Hence, it is referred to as a cold desert. The last type are the coastal desert. Coastal deserts are seen in the Namib desert, which is seen in Africa. So you can see over here there are sand dunes which are there in the Namib desert. This is also a picture of Namib desert. You can see a road that is passing through it. This is Atacama desert, which is seen in Chile. It is bordering the Pacific Ocean. So it's in South America. These two are examples of coastal desert. Coastal deserts are found along the sea coast. The land receives very less precipitation. So even though they are right next to the ocean, the land mass receives very less precipitation or no rainfall at all. And that is the reason it is very, very dry and desert like. So the precipitation is occurring in the ocean, but the currents are such that they cool the air. The cold currents here over the ocean are such that they cool the air above the ocean itself, and the precipitation occurs in the ocean. but the land mass right next to it is dry. So such deserts are called as the coastal deserts, which are found in the Namib desert. So you can see the sand dunes right next to the ocean, and this is the Atacama desert. These are the different types of terrestrial ecosystems and the biotic and abiotic components in each one of these. So the common abiotic factor that can be included for all the types of all the types of terrestrial ecosystems is that the terrestrial ecosystems have moisture as a limiting factor, and they are characterized by extremes of temperature. These are two common abiotic components that can be written for all the three types of ecosystems. I hope this class was useful. See you all in the next lecture. Thank you.